Welcome. I'm Janie from Messages from Heaven by Janie. Um, it's hot here, but the reason it's hot is not because, well, it is actually warm today. It's about 60 degrees in Delaware, and the USA is different, at different temperatures in different places. Um, but it's actually winter, so it normally is. Well, with climate warming, it has gotten to be about like 50 during the winter, a lot of days, so that it's no longer the kind of winter that we had when I was a kid. We used to be able to jump into like the snow would blow. We lived across the street from a school, and there was a wall that we could jump off of into the snow that had drifted high. So it would drift to about 5 feet. We jump off the wall into the snow, and we used to get heavy snow, at least 3 or 4 times a year. And I remember walking. I don't know. I'm talking about this. I remember um, we were very close with my aunt Betty and my nanny, and they lived in on Broad Street in Philadelphia. That is the one straight street. It goes from far South Philadelphia, um, really the south end of Philadelphia, to all the way up to well, to the end of Philadelphia. It becomes a suburb. Um, so anyway, my point. I forgot. Oh, um, Oh yeah, okay. My Aunt Betty was bringing us home, and the snow was so deep that the buses used to stop running, and we walked about 2 miles. It felt like we were like 5 miles in the country. It's really an experience that obviously I never forgot. I was probably about 9. Okay, so I asked the spirits what they wanted me to talk about. These are my personal my personal spirits. Um, Everybody has spirits around them, whether it's your grandmother, your Uncle Joe, or whoever. Um, it's kind of, I think it's kind of, they volunteer. They want to be, um, they want to have that role with people, and I guess they probably pick the person for whom they want to be the spirit. But also, you get uh, grandparents or relatives or friends of the family, people who really care about you, or they cared about your parents. I don't really understand who and how, um, but we definitely have people around us. And my grandmother has let me know, she's done things that I definitely know she's here, like holding my face and kissing me on the forehead. Although that you can tell it's a different um, dimension. It's not the same as somebody with you kissing you on the forehead. It is definitely very different. And yet, you know, the fact is, you might not, because it depends. If you meditate, you're probably going to know something happened. What was that? Just like when people are touching you on the shoulder if you're in the hospital or praying. Um, you can tell when you make a connection. I usually do not just invite spirits, and they don't usually bother me either. Maybe I'm speaking too fast. You look, I could eat now. I'm a chub, absolutely, but no, I'm not a big eater. We come with a certain body shape, a certain body type. I have been thin in my life, but um, I always tell you I'm 77, and I don't know how I'm going to look later. And we do have body shape, though. I'm definitely built just like my mother. And oh, you like the hair color? Thank you so much. That's nice. It's I don't know if you can see it. It's a red. I like the purple better. I like the lavender better, but you know, it's. I'm glad that I have any hair because I was reading today that uh, when we're under a lot of stress, our hair can fall out. Well, my hair's been falling out by little bunches, and I am worried. It's a big deal. My husband's dying, and that's honestly that's. Um, I don't get. I don't know what I didn't see. I guess I could do this. Hi, I don't get no typey. What the hell? You're 77. Oh no, you are so sweet. This Clara, you are very, very sweet. Nah. Um, excuse me, I have a little cold. It's going away. Um, I have makeup on. I refuse to do these without makeup because I definitely look older, and I'm not thrilled with the way I look. So what my guides want me to talk about is um, now I can't read my handwriting. Five. Oh. Okay, I pulled the Five of Pentacles. Um, that's what I use to get messages from them. And sometimes it works well and sometimes not. I like the cards a lot, but I'm not a person who is talking about politics, especially not in the United States. Who could I can't foretell. I really can't foretell what's going to happen here. And I was going to say I have so many people from India. I couldn't tell what's going to happen in your country either. Um, yeah, but this is going to sound ridiculous. No, maybe not. Um, we have, let's see, we have 4 small restaurants that recently opened around within the last 2 years near us. They're all Pakistani, or the one that we just went to was Turkish. We don't have enough Indian restaurants. We really don't. Is shawarma Indian? Somebody tell me that. Okay, let me go back. Okay, Five of Pentacles came, which let me know. I read it and I okay. Hardship, loss, isolation. I want you to know that when you get laid off from a job, I know how you feel because I used to get laid off regularly. We all have our, what would you call it? Our friendly attitude. What is it? Our overall personality, like that we have, that we could be charming to people we don't know. We're meeting them for the first time and we're charming, and yes, we seem like the nicest person in the world. I just eat shawarma. Is it Indian? Let me know. I love Indian food. I like Middle Eastern food a lot. I love Indian food. Different. I love Asian food too. Okay, so it's Pakistani. Okay, they were in the restaurant yesterday complaining about because my husband couldn't hear me. He was there, but he couldn't hear. There was a lot of noise and people were talking. They were saying it was 14 hours to get from Pakistan to Philadelphia. That's where the big airport is. No, I mean, let's drop that. Okay, it's just good food. So, why did I get fired? I got fired from, was it my first job? I think it was my first job. Before I went to college, And I was supposed to use, years ago before computers, they had these machines that were like this long, like the half, they were maybe 10 feet long, 10 feet wide. And they would make holes in cards. And that was my job. It was sort of a secretarial job. And there were two men working in the office. And the old fat man was telling dirty jokes. And I was 18 years old, and I didn't laugh because I was 18 years old, and I didn't think it was funny. Well, they didn't like that. So as soon as whoever who did the job before was available, or maybe it was like 2 weeks later, they hired her back and got rid of me. The place made dog food, and they had mice and stuff all over, mice and bugs all over. Which, at that time, I didn't have a dog. I don't even think we had cats because I don't think we did. It was disgusting. So they fired me. Where else did they fire me from? Oh boy. What the thing is, I had a lot of really horrible jobs, um, and it takes a while. I mean, I would give myself a week to get over being fired. Today, this is how I feel. I think, and whatever it takes you, whether it takes you 2 days, 1 hour, or 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. It takes a little while to get over something like that. It's a big shock to your system. You have to understand and let yourself alone and say, I really should be something. No, you shouldn't be anything. You should be who you are. And we get upset. We get internally upset about that kind of stuff. No, we didn't belong at that job. Obviously, we didn't. And luckily, whoever fired us knew that we didn't belong. Um, oh boy, um, Mr. Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson Mr. Ferguson has deceased, and he came to me in a dream, not apologizing, just showing me what he wanted. I had worked for him long after he had worked in Center City, Philadelphia, and they couldn't stand him because he was a pickpocket. They put him in a room by himself at a desk with no phone and no work. That was it. And they expected him to retire because I think he must have been, I don't know how old he was. They didn't care. They just wanted him to leave. So he transferred up to this place that was in Northeast Philadelphia. And initially, because, I had gotten, I think I finished my master's degree in therapeutic recreation by that time. And so I was the head of this department. It wasn't anything gigantic. It was 3 or 4 people at the most. I think it was 4 if I was in charge of education. Anyway, so in the beginning it was fine. I worked under the director, and then they put in the girlfriend of the guy who was the head of the whole department from downtown. And he liked blondes, so she was a tall blonde. She didn't like me or anybody else who had gotten their master's degrees or who was maybe a nurse, and like people who knew more than she didn't like them. So she put me under Mr. Ferguson. And Mr. Ferguson was I don't know if he was a Marine or an Army guy, but I couldn't please Mr. Ferguson. He wanted me to get the workers who'd been there for 20 years or 30, get them to come on time. They would come, well, especially Margie Moore. She would come like a minute or two after. He didn't like that. He wanted on the minute. And he wanted me to be coming to him, and he would okay everything. And it was like, what do you want? Okay. And then when Well, there was no way I could do that because Margie Moore she'd been there for about 30 years. And when she didn't like something, she would go up to him. This was a very talented woman. She ran the children's choir at her church. She ran the choir there. She did all kinds of musical activities. She did all kinds of stuff. And suddenly she has me coming in who I didn't like arts and crafts. I really didn't like being like what do you call it, a cheerleader. I wasn't that type of person. I liked making notes and seeing. I could actually see what people were really like, which is really what I do now with remote seeing, because I can actually see people, can see into their heads, which I shouldn't be doing, but I can do it. So that's what I like to do, but I didn't realize it at the time. And anyway, so he wanted me to get Margie Moore to do this and that, and she was never going to do it. And when he bothered her, she'd go up there and because he was very active in his church. He went to his church, dragged himself up on the podium when he broke his leg. I mean, he was so determined to do what he wanted. And okay, so when I was getting a rating at the end of, I don't know how, I think I'd been there for about 5 years. And someone was between him and me. It was this woman they moved up there because she had cancer. They must have hated her guts, because to put her under Mr. Ferguson was like putting her under the devil, even though he was really a good guy. He meant well, but I used to wonder, like, how is it that these street guys, because they had a lot of street people there, that they didn't kill him, they didn't attack him, because he would keep their money. They would get Social Security checks or VA checks, whatever they would get, pension checks. He would keep them until whenever he gave them out. And it was amazing. Nobody attacked him. So one day he came, I had lupus, which was not helped by being under this pressure of this guy, because even though I liked him and I knew he meant well, he was driving me crazy. He would say, "You're resisting me," and that would make me want to throw up. And he had learned psychology, I guess, in like 1942. It wasn't like that anymore. And he was still espousing this stuff. Oh God. So Mr. Ferguson, I had lupus. I was out for about 2 weeks. Came back, but I was still sick and I couldn't get up. I was nauseous all the time and dizzy. So I'm laying down on the sofa that I had in my office. And he comes down, he's banging on the door. I mean, really banging as hard as he could. Bang, 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 bang. Where are you? What are you doing? Oh my God. Oh, geez. And I never told him that I was sick. I didn't do any of that because I didn't want to lose my time. And when my rating came up, this woman who had cancer, to my face, lied to me. I don't like that. Don't lie to me. I don't care what you say to me. Don't lie to me. Just tell me the truth. You can tell me I'm writing this because he told me to write it and I have to. Don't tell me any stories. I don't want to hear it. I have never said a prayer for this woman, called her, because I can call any spirit. I am never going to call her. And is that okay? Yes, it's okay. Yes, you do not have to like anybody. You do not have to ever forgive anybody. Know that. You don't have to. Somebody treats you like caca. You do. You don't have to. I'm not saying physically ever hurt them. I'm not saying call them names. You don't ever. You do what you want. You can tell them what you think in them or not, whatever you want. But you don't ever have to forgive anybody. You might want to know where they come from, why they behave the way they do, so that your equanimity is right. You want to get right in yourself. But them, the hell with them. It's their mistakes are their problems, not yours. I mean it. So she told me that crap. And luckily, there was a job open in Center City, and I took that job. I loved that job. I honestly, I mean, I'm an artist. I didn't like the people, except for a couple people I liked. Um, didn't matter though. I mean, I knew nothing about it. I was an artist, and this was a job for assessors, people who looked at houses and figured out what they were worth for tax purposes. You think I knew about that? I'm horrible in math. So like, ugh. And computers, no, I didn't know about computers then, and I still don't. But they used, because it was the city, they used old computers, and you didn't have to worry about anything modern. They weren't modern, so that was that. Um, but what they wanted me to explain was hardship. Yes, sometimes we do have hardships, and hopefully there are ways around it. All I know is the Western countries. In Western countries, and I don't know, I wish I could tell you about India, um, here and in France and Germany and Great Britain, if you don't have money for food, there are ways to eat. There are ways to get a roof over your head, I think. Sometimes there are people who do definitely lose their houses because they lose their job, and then eventually they can't pay the rent, and they just don't have enough money coming in to pay for, you have to lay money out initially, so that if you wreck the apartment they can fix it. That's kind of what it is. So there definitely are people, lots and lots of homeless people, hundreds of thousands of them, in, I think, all over the world, but definitely in the United States. When I went with my brother lives in the West Coast. So when I was with him in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon, which is a lovely city, and it's a very liberal city and a fun city, um, there were tents all along the streets. I think it's a little better now, but anyway, that is definitely a problem that I hope things happen, that because people shouldn't have to live on the street. I mean, it gets cold in the United States in a lot of places, and even on the beach, it gets cold. It gets cool. Um, yeah, we face adversity, absolutely. Oh, isolation. Oh boy, I don't know if I could reach out. If I were, um, I know how hard it is to talk to somebody, to reach out when you are really, really depressed, when you're really in a hole. It's it's if it isn't impossible, it's next to impossible. And I guess if you can't reach out, the best thing to do is to bring yourself close to somebody so that they can see it, or go to somebody who is not necessarily the person you want to talk to, but at least they will notice, like your doctor or somebody, or your minister, something like that, priest, who will notice that there's something wrong, and like go from person to person, eventually ending up with someone who can help, because you don't want to be isolated. You want to work with yourself to, like, get get yourself over to somebody who will sympathize and talk to you, because it makes a difference. We're not just clans, we're pack people, tribes and whatever. We do tend to want to be with our people who are just like us, which is okay. um, the problem is you don't want to hate the people who aren't like you, but we need other people. We just, that's how we are. We're like dogs. We're not much different. We're animals too. Um, okay, so isolation, and that really is a big deal, because isolation can lead to suicide. Where we think we're not good enough. Someone I care deeply about was not in contact with his family, And he was so ashamed of himself, and he shouldn't have been. I mean, there was no reason to be ashamed. But his outlook, was that he felt like he was weird and not good enough, didn't make the grade, nobody would want to talk to him, and he could have nothing real to say or important to say, or why would they want to talk to him? And so he never called them. And when he passed away, and they passed away, they were angry because they thought that he purposely didn't call them. It wasn't true. He was so ashamed of himself, he would not call. You don't want that to happen. And yes, he did commit suicide. And I'm trying to help change that now. If they'll listen, and I don't think they have yet, I'm trying. I'm getting ready to take out the cudgels. I don't know what cudgels look like. I'm assuming something like hammers, but they're spirits and they're not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to do to make them pay attention. These are not people who do necessarily. They have their own ideas. Okay, adversity. Yeah. I mean, something like the woman with cancer. There are people, there are definitely people who will come after you. There are some toxic people around who, they're hateful. They're toxic, and for whatever reason, they can be jealous of you. They can make up stories about you that are completely not true and believe them. And then they can tell other people too. But the fact is, they can put you in a position that is very uncomfortable. And I'm in that position, and I really don't know what to do other than to be my charming self, because I'm not just that. I have anger, great anger, and when people see that, they freak out. But we are all complicated. We all have layers. Under my anger is compassion and love. I don't know what to do with people, but adversity. Just watch out for people. And once they show you that they are bad people, believe them when they tell you. People will tell you. They'll say, oh, I'm a bad person. Take it from the expert. That's the expert telling you they're bad, and they mean it. Unemployment, we covered that as much as could be. Alienation. Yeah, we get alienated from things. We do. We just say, oh, that's it, I'm not doing math anymore. Or I don't know. Just things that we don't want to do, or people we don't want to know. I figure that if you don't like somebody, or somebody's been nasty in some way to you, and you don't want to be with them, then don't. You know best. Trust yourself. Just trust your heart, trust yourself. You can meditate on it, but trust yourself. Don't push yourself to do things that don't feel right. I've done that, and it just doesn't work. Never really works. Oh, disgrace. Yes. The person I was talking about felt as though he were a disgrace. The only people who are disgraces are the super wealthy people who don't care about other people, who are willing to do things that hurt us so they can make more money or have more power. They are disgraceful. They are obscene. You and I, no, we're just regular people. I call myself a peon. Um, but somebody like, I don't even want to say his name, he'd make me sick, 45, the 45th so-called president of the United States, Hitler. Um, Obscene. They're really obscene people. No, they don't go to the same place we go. That's important. You should know that. You don't have to worry about seeing them wherever you go. We go to different levels, but people like that go to the bottom level. And I understand that they don't come back to Earth. They go to they're sent to other planets where they do not have free will. That's what the psychics who seem to know about that so far, all that my so not my psychics, my guides have told me how it is when we die, that we open our eyes and we're there, and it's great. I asked a fellow that we were friendly with years and years ago, his friends of our friends, and he said it's beautiful, and I've heard that before. My great-grandmother said that she plays, what did she say? What's the bridge? My great-grandmother, one of them came from Britain. She came over with my great-grandfather, and he was really down to earth, and he's a lot of fun. And she's kind of stick in the mud, like I asked her grandmother, like I have to call her grandmother Bethy. Grandmother Bethy, what do you do all day? Okay, she said she plays bridge and other games, other card games. Okay. I'm trying to find out what they do. And so far that's, well, I understand it's beautiful and they can make anything appear, or like my father-in-law liked to fish. So I'm sure that he goes fishing, even though he hasn't said that. I feel that that's correct. What else? I don't know. Okay. I have to hold this up because I forgot. Oh, wait a minute. I hope you can read that. Can you read it? Here. Let's see. What does it say? Please push like subscriptions. I can't. Okay. Please push like and subscriptions. Please, if you like what I did, then push it. Entertainment purposes only. They're all my opinions. And what else? This was one of my, I think it might have been my first one-person show in 1978. Is that painting? That was a painting I did of myself, and at our old house, and it was at a gallery called Ebullience, and the show was on a real snowy night, and a whole bunch of people came. So let's see, did I hold it up right? Please push the buttons. Okay, if you can push like, that would be great, because I don't know what it does, but I hear the other psychics saying to please push like, that it means a lot to the YouTube, and definitely entertainment purposes only. That's important because you have, oh God, you get nuts all over the place. I don't know. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much for watching whenever you watch it. And I want to say hi, Bobby. That was my friend I talked to earlier today. And I did talk to Howard, who was the person that I didn't know had passed away. All right. Take care. Have a great day tomorrow. I probably will will come in. Conchina. Yep. I don't even eat chicken, but a little bit. Okay. Thank you again. And take care. Push the buttons. Thank you. Bye bye. And does that do anything? No.